It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Hello everybody, welcome to another video of mine. In this one I'm going to be talking about my experience with K2, Spice, Potpourri, Fake Bake, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same garbage. It's a fucking terrible drug. This shit ended up being a fucking nightmare for me, and it really did a number on me. So I'm going to kind of explain my experiences from start to finish. From like the very first time I smoked to the very last time I smoked. Now this started back in 2011 and 2012 because I was 17 years old, and I know that because I wasn't a legal age to buy it yet, and you had to be 18. So my friend had bought me my very first bag, and I had no idea what the shit was. But I heard you could get high on K2. I heard of K2. But it was a bag that just said like Mr. Nice Guy on it, and it was Potpourri. And so I read the back and it says not meant for human consumption. And I read that and I'm thinking, oh, well, this isn't the right stuff then. I text my friend, I'm like, hey, this says not meant for human consumption. And he says, no, it's the right stuff, you're good. Being the stupid kid that I was back then, I'm like, oh, alright, well, yeah, I'll try it out. So I'm sitting in my car, getting ready to go home. But I make sure to at least load a very tiny pinch into my bowl. The tiniest pinch. And I hit it. Just sitting in my car. I don't really feel much. So I hit the rest of it a little bit, and I put it down. And I just wait a few minutes. And I kind of felt a little bit of something, but not really. So I went ahead and took off in my car and drove out of there, went home. And I remember when I got stopped at a light, I remember the light actually kind of looked like a little crazy. Like, it didn't look crazy, but it just felt crazy being at that light. I don't know, and I can't really explain it. But I wasn't like really like high, but I just had that weird feeling. But anyways, I made it home safely, and I figured, okay, so this stuff might have some potential. So my dumbass self proceeds to load a full bowl of this garbage. I go out in the backyard, and I start toking away like it's nothing, like it's weed, regular weed. And you know, that's what I thought it might do. I thought it might have just been like regular weed. I had no idea what this shit was about to do to me. So my first time I ever got high on that stuff in my backyard, I just remember after I like smoked damn near the entire bowl, I had sat it down and I was just sitting there like taking really deep breaths. Like I wasn't freaking out, I wasn't anxious, I was just, it felt really intense. But it was just like it was an intense body load, and also a bit of a head high too. Like it felt like I was wearing a football helmet kinda, but my whole body was just like, like it was crazy. So anyways, I go inside, I go to my room, and my dog follows behind me. Sit in my chair, dog sits right in front of me. I look at the dog, and I swear to God, I thought we were communicating. I start saying things, and I see my dog start like nodding his head yes or no, like very, very slightly, but I just see it that much, and that's all it took for me to be convinced that I am having a conversation with my dog, basically. And I was so convinced that I picked up my phone, and I was like, yo, I gotta tell mom, I gotta tell everybody that this is happening right now. And as soon as I was about to text my mom, he puts his paw up on me, and I look back at him, and he like does that little nod, and he says no. And I didn't do it. But I didn't do it because it's not because I didn't think that they would think I'm high. It's because, oh right, because, well, we're not supposed to know that dogs can understand us, and the only reason I can understand you is because I'm high as fuck. So yeah, no, I was a very dumb kid. So I almost text my mom and oh my god, so many of my friends that my dog can communicate and understand us. So after that whole thing happens, I was just watching crazy videos on YouTube, and it really just all went from there. First time I ever got high on that garbage. So eventually I started smoking more of it. I just started smoking a lot of it. I had the whole bag of it, so I went ahead and just finished out the bag eventually. And I start going over to my friends after school is out for the summer. And I go over to my friend's house because they smoke it too. So I pretty much stayed at their house all summer long. That entire summer I just stayed over at their house, and every single day, every single night, I would smoke and just get high as fuck. And this is where it really started to become a problem. We were scrapping the couches for change, stealing money from my friend's dad's like huge jug of coins, just to go to like a star machine, like where you put coins in for cash, and we would just go buy more bags of potpourri and smoke it all night long. Because if we didn't have it, we were angry little shits. We were pissed off at each other. No one was happy. Everyone was just really on edge and irritated with everything. It was like if someone who smoked cigarettes just stopped or just ran out and he couldn't go get any more. So it really was just like an itch. Like you had to have it to stay sane or happy. So at this time, it was still considered fun while we were high. Like we have had so many good laughs on this shit. And we just had a good time. But it eventually did take a turn for the worse for all of us, really. My friend smoked too much one night and he freaked out. He thought that he said he was having visions, like his eyes were closed and he was just seeing himself running through the house killing everybody. And what he was really doing was he was like kind of just going crazy. He wasn't having a seizure, but he was just going crazy, and he ran into the shower, turned the water on with his clothes on and everything, and he was freaking out. And after that day, he never smoked again. Never smoked that shit again. So I was still smoking it even after seeing that happen, and so was my other friend. So me and him would just smoke it all the time together. And the friend that freaked out, he didn't mind that we were doing it, just he didn't want to do it. So eventually, after a while, my mom kind of caught on to me that I was doing it a lot when I started coming back home, like when it was back to school. And I had a bag every day. And I didn't finish a whole bag every day, but damn near. Like I would smoke a bowl, and then no more than 30-45 minutes later, I would load another one. So once she started catching on to me, it became a problem. It got to a point I was stealing money to get more of the shit. And when I turned 18, of course, it was so convenient because now I could just go to the store whenever I wanted to and just get it, and no one can stop me. I do remember when it started going really downhill, like it got nightmare-ish. I remember the very first bad trip I had on this stuff, like genuinely bad trip. I was sitting in my car. It was late evening, probably like 7 o'clock, 7:30, still a little bright out, sitting in my car, and I'm smoking this bowl, and I'm getting so fucking high. And eventually, it got to a point like I was about to take a hit. I was about to take one more hit, and as soon as I was about to hit it, I heard a voice in my head, but it wasn't my voice, and I immediately backed off because I cannot recall what this voice was telling me, but what I do know is if I took another hit, I was going to die. That's what I felt in that moment. I knew that the universe would kill me right then and there if I had taken another hit. So yeah, no, this stuff is no joke, especially after long-term use like that. That was the first bad time I had. So I was just sitting in my car, just like I would forget about it for a second, and I go back to hitting it, and then it would remind me, it would hit me again, and I would like feel that pressure on me, like if something was, like if there was a God looking down on me and saying that, and just had like just something that he's about to kill me with, and it felt like that was actually about to happen to me. Like if someone had a gun on you, that's what it felt like in that moment to me. And it was that voice in my head, the very first time I heard that voice in my head, and it just said, "Don't you dare take another fucking hit," something along those lines. I cannot recall exact words, and I'm probably glad that I can't. So after I sobered up from that, of course, just like any other addict, once you sober up, you'll go back to it. You're like, alright, I was just high as fuck, just don't get that high again. Well, I did get that high again, but it didn't happen again for a while. But I was starting to get very bad anxiety when I smoked it. It got to a point like I was laying in bed after I smoked it, and I would have my covers on, and I'd be freaking out because I can feel the covers on me. Like I can just feel everything that's touching me. I can just feel it, and I was so consciously aware of that, and it freaked me the fuck out, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so I couldn't do anything. Even I felt my own skin on my body. Like, it's so fucked up. And so I'd just be sitting there doing all weird shit like this. I'd be like, oh god. Yeah, no, it was bad. Like, really, really bad. Dangerously bad. I remember a couple friends came over one night when I was smoking, and they were smoking weed, but I wasn't, because I was in rehab at this time, not by choice. I was forced to go, so of course I smoked a little bit of K2 when it was outpatient rehab, so I only had to like go in like 3 times a week, or I think it was every day of the week, and just in the morning I had to go in for like a little meeting with a bunch of people in a circle. So yeah, I was smoking a little K2 whenever I wasn't in there, and they were smoking weed. And they drug tested me though, that's why I wasn't smoking with them, but they were smoking weed. And I remember I had my bag of K2, and I just felt so shitty smoking it in front of them, because it's such a shitty thing. It's a shitty drug. And here I am smoking that garbage when I could just be smoking some real weed. So I remember what I did was I took the rest of that bag. I had a whole lot left. I took the rest of that bag and I just dumped it out into the yard. Just dumped it all out right in front of them. And they were like, shit. Like, they knew that I knew that I was gonna realize that I fucked up. And well, one of them was like, hell yeah, man. But he knew that I knew. And no, they were right, because later that night when I was craving it, I ran outside. I shit you not, got my flashlight out, and I picked up every single piece that I could find, and I got myself a pretty big pile eventually. And I didn't care what had gotten on it. I picked it all up as much as I could. And I mean, I had really spread this shit out when I poured it. So I mean, I'm looking hard for this shit. Like, I'm digging deep. So eventually, get as much as I can, go inside, load a bowl, smoke it, high as fuck, and then I run out again, and I'm just so fucking mad at myself for dumping it all out. And I fucked up, but at the same time, I did the right thing, right? So basically, yeah, it was just getting to a point where I needed it. I absolutely needed it to be sane or happy or just to feel normal. And it would just give me anxiety too sometimes, but like, it was weird. Like, sometimes it would make me just really high and space out, and other times it would just give me the worst anxiety you can imagine. Alright, so one of the very last times that I ever smoked it, and I think this was probably back in 2015, 2016 maybe. I was on acid one night, and we were coming down off the acid. So it was like probably 7-8 hours into the acid trip. So like you're pretty much coming down at that point. And I remember my friend had some, and we went ahead and smoked it because we didn't have any weed. So we smoked it to bring the visuals back, or the trip back, so we'd say. And so we smoked it. My friend, 5 minutes later, he threw up all over himself. That alone just gave me like just bad feelings. And because he looked dead with puke on his shirt all over himself, and he was breathing, and his girlfriend was sitting there trying to help him. But I mean, that whole situation was just so fucked for me. And then there goes that voice in my head. It came back, and I'm really glad I can't remember what it said, but I know that it was the most haunting shit ever. Like, there's a reason I don't remember that shit that was said to me, because it told me what I do know is it told me some very, very dark things that I would never want to hear in a million years. And I remember my brother passed away a long time ago when I was about 9-10 years old. And I remember I kept seeing my brother's face just pop up all over the place. The voice didn't sound like my brother's voice, by the way, but yeah, I just kept seeing his face pop up all over the place. And like, it's like Chirp was kind of fucking with me, doing fucked up shit, like turning his face into like a trippy fucking spiral. and I wanted to not think about that because that's so fucked up. And I tried not to think about it, but my brain kept telling me some darker shit and just kept showing me some more fucked up shit. Yeah, I think that was pretty much the last time I ever smoked that shit. That was the very last time I ever smoked that shit, actually. Luckily they started banning it, and it's making a comeback, unfortunately. Guys, please, like most drugs, a lot of drugs that I've tried, I'll be like, if you're gonna do it, be safe, get a sitter. This one, I'm just gonna say, don't do it. Please don't do it. This shit is so stupid. It will put holes in your brain. You can say that's bullshit all you want. Bro, this shit's fucked me up permanently. I know it has. A lot of drugs have, but that one definitely played a role. And I know that a lot of my anxiety probably stems from that too. So that was kind of my experience with K2. And it's not fun shit. It's bad shit. It's terrible. I can't say it enough. It's just so fucking bad, man. But anyways, guys, hopefully that gives you an idea of how shitty this drug is. And if you were thinking about doing it and then you watch this video and now you're not thinking about doing it, well then I'm really glad that I could have helped someone out there. That's basically why I'm making these videos, just to give you an idea of what an experience is like, or could potentially be like, even if it's just one trip or an overall experience. So yeah, anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll try to make more content as soon as I can.